Be afraid, be very afraid. This is Mirror Signal Manouevre, the brake-slamming, pavement-mounting, non-stop rocky ride to getting a driving licence. Learning to drive is the one thing that I and loads of you have put off for years. But something usually comes along to force us out of hiding and into the driving seat. Whether it's the chance for a promotion, wanting to do more with the kids, or just being able to help out your nearest and dearest. In the end, getting behind the wheel is the only way forward. Yes, learning to drive is definitely one of those life experiences that most of us can relate to. Whether going forwards, backwards, wobbling from side to side, or just drifting along in second gear, we've pretty much been there, done that. And this is the series that brings together learners from around the country in all their engine-shuddering glory. We've got wannabe drivers taking their very first lesson, right through to others in their 10th year of learning.
Second, 1, 2, then left at the traffic light.
Some passing first time, others gearing up for test number 8. Just like life, learning to drive is never ever what you expect and always full of surprises. So pull out from the slip road, put your foot to the floor and join the fast but uncertain lane that is learning to drive.
Right, would you like to switch everything off?
In South London, 23-year-old graduate trainee Tom Price has got to drive if he's to hold on to his latest job promotion.
Don't want to stop it, if possible.
We'll be there with them both at the very moment when the examiner gives them the news they've been hoping for, or the green light to book in for more driving lessons.
OK, Tom, if you'd like to switch off your engine, make yourself comfortable, just give me a couple of moments to complete this. Yeah, it won't be a second.
And I'll be watching, waiting, anticipating and expecting as Ricky, my instructor, tells me to perform an emergency... Stop! Scary! And we'll find out later if all that driving expertise gets Nina the result she's after behind the wheel. On the other side of town, career-hungry Tom Price is about to take on the impossible mission of cracking the intensive driving course. 23-year-old South London graduate Tom Price has just been promoted in his job at a top catering firm. The trouble is, if he's to keep his posh new job, he needs to drive.
I do wish I'd taken my test a long time ago. Most of my friends learnt when they were 17, 18. And I never really had the money to do it, so I always just put it off.
His company makes sandwiches for, amongst others, the Queen. Cucumber no crusts, please. So Tom's bosses are rolling out the red carpet and sending him on a 5-day intensive driving course.
Driving's a necessity for me because I have to go and visit clients all over the country.
He's got the job, he's got the bachelor pad. Now he needs some wheels.
Driving is undoubtedly, it gives you freedom, gives you independence.
And the man who's been charged with getting him there in just 5 days is instructor Steve Murphy. And he's taking it in his stride.
My style of teaching is quite relaxed. I'm quite a laid-back chap. So I find that shouting at anybody doesn't really get anyone anywhere. So a relaxed approach I take. I think so. The distance between you and the ball, much better. Cool. Liking it.
The instructor Steve is he's been great. He's not stern or strict. He's just, he's direct, but he's friendly. He's a very approachable guy.
When he's not working or worrying about his clutch control, Tom likes to relax with a good kickabout. He loves his football and is always hoping for a successful result on the pitch. But when the full-time whistle blows on his driving test, will he be top of the league? We'll find out later. Meanwhile, back in South London, 23-year-old Tom Price has taken on one big driving challenge. He needs to drive for his job, so his bosses have sent him on an intensive driving course. Until now, he's never driven before, but in 4 days' time, he takes his test. Ah!
I'll be driving Tom to a quiet location. On an intensive course, there's a lot of topics to cover in a small space of time.
His instructor, Steve, is an old hand at this sort of thing. For today's lesson, Steve's keeping it simple. It's time to get his head around the basics.
Good.
Turning left and right.
Looking both ways. Oh, a little bit quick. Can you see you shot over the lines? Gas and button point. Okay, we're going to roll. Brake to stop. Foot brake to stop. Handbrake on.
That's right, Steve. Start him off on something easy, like a corner, dodgy visibility, and on a slope. And like getting back on a bicycle after falling off, there's only one way to get it right. Go round the block and start all over again. Tom doesn't have to stop at this junction. Creeping forward slowly would work if the road ahead is clear to pull into.
Gas and button point. We nearly stopped. We stopped. Handbrake on. Gas and button point. Right, brake to stop. Handbrake on.
To control the car at this speed, it's all down to coordination between the clutch and accelerator. If you overdo the latter, you risk kangaroo hopping into the middle of the road.
Okay, start us up so I have to secure the car because we're in a precarious situation.
There's just so much to think about. So time to take things up a gear and practice the right turn, which is slightly more tricky than the left because there's a lane to cross. The last thing Tom wants to do here is stall in the middle of the road.
Yep. You don't have it there, don't you? Which gear are you in?
Like that.
Oh my gosh, we're in the third.
Start engine. We don't want to stop here. It's off it. You're easing off the gas. That's it. Handbrake on again.
Annoying.
So you get it. Let's practice.
This is clearly frustrating Tom, but there's no time to dwell on it. With his test in 4 days' time, he needs to have another crack at, yes, it's that corner.
There we go. He's done it. Nice and slow. Yes. Well done, mate. So why can't you do that all the time, eh?
A quick learner he might be, but will Tom be quick enough to get to test standard on time? Join us later to see. So one candidate's passed, but what will test day hold for the other? 23-year-old graduate Tom Price. He's on day 3 of a 5-day intensive course, so in less than 48 hours' time, he'll know if he's road legal.
I think I'm almost there with general just moving a car around. I think I've almost got that, but yeah, I don't quite feel like a driver yet.
And instructor Steve's throwing him in at the deep end.
Today we'll get back onto the main roads again. They're going to be quite busy. It's early morning rush hour, so battling with a bit of traffic. I'm going to go somewhere reasonably quiet and start a new manoeuvre today, which will be left reverse around the corner.
Morning, Tom. How are you? Jump in.
Since we last saw Tom 2 days ago, there's been progress.
At the end of the road, turn left.
Just check out his left turn.
Nicely done. At the end of the road, turn right.
And his right turn isn't causing any problems either. But that's all in the past. Now it's time for some proper road handling in the rush hour. And his first challenge is a particularly nasty roundabout with what seems like a never-ending stream of traffic. Tom can only concentrate and try not to get flustered.
Quite tricky, this one. Right.
Where there's a gap, he needs to get into it as quickly as possible.
Okay, there's your gap. Missed it. Just think to yourself, what are they doing? What are they doing? They're cutting off. Is that a gap? Yeah. He wasn't signalling right. This one.
Oh, and he's got to watch that clutch control.
So it'll come all the way around. Very busy. Watch out for the pedestrian. Just calm down. It's very busy at the moment. Just try.
Oh no, you feel pedestrians, cars, the whole world coming at you from all angles.
Yeah, no roundabout. It's horrible. One way, buddy.
With only 2 days until the test, he's going to have to learn to keep his cool.
Okay. Yeah. Neutral.
But he looks to be struggling with another all-time favourite of mine, steering and changing gear without looking at the gear stick.
Careful. You look to the gear. Do you see what happened with the road position? Yeah. You just got to be careful where you're looking.
It's tricky, I can tell you, and it's a real problem because every time he looks down, he loses control of the car.
Okay. Again, try not to look at that gear stick as well. I'm really trying to focus. Keep my eyes forward. Excellent. Got a big Mustang look.
If at first you don't succeed, try.
Don't want to be looking at any of these hand controls, don't you?
Try.
Don't look at the gear when you drop it.
Try.
Don't look at the gear.
Try.
Don't look.
Try.
Good.
And try again.
You're not going to look at your gear when you change to third, are you? No. Test day, couple of days away. We've done 2.5 days now, and I think the transformation from day one to where we are now, 1.5 days later, is fantastic.
But is he on course for a test pass? Find out later. So there's still a long way for me to go to get on the straight and narrow of driving. But for Londoner Tom Price, it's test day, and he'll only get one chance to keep his career on track. 5 days ago, 23-year-old graduate Tom Price from Croydon didn't even know his left turn from his right. But thanks to an intensive course paid for by work and super cool instructor Steve, he's made it to the test centre.
It's exactly like being in a dentist waiting room.
Without the drilling.
Tom Price. Hiya.
So after being extracted from his instructor's side,
Yep. After you. Cheers.
Good luck.
Tom undergoes the customary eye test.
Yeah. T373GNH.
Good, lovely. Thank you.
Vehicle maintenance questions, and he's off.
I think Tom's made fantastic progress in 1 week. I think coming into this, I wasn't sure what my expectations would be. It's a very difficult thing to do to learn to drive.
And it's incredible to think that the average pupil has 45 lessons plus private practice before taking their test, and Tom, well, he's had just 28 hours in a car.
The worst that can happen to Tom now, well, he's tending not to drop the car back into first gear. And if you're trying to pull off in second or third, you're not going to get very far.
Oh dear, he's still in second, but managed to pull away without stalling. But the examiner's not so impressed. He's pulling up again and gone for the gear stick. Oh, no he hasn't. He's got away with it once, but will he get away with it again?
He's braking to stop when the gear he's in, which is fine, but he's occasionally forgetting to drop it back into first when he moves off, and the outcome of which will be a stall.
Not so fast, Steve. He might just be okay. And there's the stall. The inevitable finally happened. One thing's for sure, after that start, the examiner will be closely scrutinising Tom's ability to move off under control. So remember the gears.
Okay, Tom, and when you're ready, I'd like you to drive on for me, please.
Tom, you're still in neutral. Do something.
Don't you forget about me. Don't.
Just take your time, yeah? Take your time.
You're going nowhere, Tom. Now think. The clutch is down. The revs are high enough. Crystal Palace are playing tonight. Must concentrate. The car. Why aren't I moving? Oh, that'll be it. Chin up, Tom. It might not be over yet.
You recognize
he's bound to make a couple of mistakes. Perfection is very hard to achieve. So long as he ignores them, ignores the examiner, concentrates on the driving, he'll be in good stead.
Tom's waiting to pull forward in order to reverse around the corner, which is all fine, apart from the fact someone's just parked up in front of him. People do pick their moments.
Just going to wait till
Yeah, sure. You do everything's right, yeah?
Tom's playing it safe and waits for them to get out.
So tired of waiting.
And now the examiner's struggling with his patience. Come on, don't you realise that we're in the middle of a driving test here?
Tired of waiting for you.
Just take your time, Tom. Just take your time.
Finally, they're on their way. But the examiner's already checking his watch. Maybe there's a football match he's worried about missing. But he's not the only impatient one. It seems to be taking an incredibly long time. Tom's not keeping you up, is he? Goodness, he's nodding off. Oh, he's fine. Just checking the mirrors. At a massive 6 minutes long, Tom might have taken up a seventh of his test, but surely it was better to err on the side of caution. But Tom's not looking so chuffed. Now here, the road goes from a 30 to a 40 miles per hour zone. There are very few signs around, but it's a dual carriageway, which might be a clue. So has Tom realised? Well, the other motorists aren't waiting around to find out. Speed camera. Well, you won't have to worry about that. Tom's driven well, but will his stalling be enough to fail? Has he done what seems like the impossible and passed his test in just 5 days?
Okay, Tom, if you'd like to switch off your engine, make yourself comfortable, just give me a couple of moments to complete this. Yeah, it won't be a second. Okay, well that's the end of your driving test. I am sorry to say that you haven't passed. Would you like me to explain why?
Yeah.
Okay, firstly we got here is move away under control, yeah? I mean there was many times, well it wasn't just the fact that you were stalling, it was the fact that on quite a few occasions we actually moved away in the wrong gear, and even once we tried to move away in neutral, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Trying to move away in the wrong gear as well. And then do you remember when we turned right, we went onto the dual carriageway which was 40 miles an hour, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, it took you a long time to get there, didn't it? Yeah? I think you're thinking it was still 30 miles an hour when you were doing it.
It's a huge disappointment for Tom. Now he's got the unenviable task of telling his bosses.
I feel like rubbish. My control was always just a little bit off. I suppose that was probably down to nerves. There's nothing wrong with the way Steve taught me. He's got a great style. Obviously I've let myself down at the end.
Despite his lack of success in the test, Steve has taught Tom to drive in just 5 days and came so close to what seemed like the impossible.
Whose heart is aching for breaking? Your